Okay. So for this module, we will have the types of threats and attacks. Okay, this is module 3 of cybersecurity fundamentals. So what is a security threat? Okay, these or security threat are any potential danger that can exploit a vulnerability to compromise the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of an information system. Now, these threats can be intentional, for example, cyber attacks, or unintentional, uh, such as accidental data loss. Okay. Now, security vulnerability. A security vulnerability is basically a weakness in a system, software, or network. Okay. Think of it like a small crack in a wall. Okay, wherein it might not seem like a big deal, okay, but if someone discovers it, then they can exploit it and they can break to that certain crack. Okay, now in a digital world, these vulnerabilities can allow threats like hackers, malware, or even insider attacks can okay, or to gain unauthorized access, steal data, or cause significant damage to the system. Understanding what a vulnerability is helps us to see okay, why regular updates, patches, and proper configurations are so critical in cybersecurity. Now, here are the common types of security threats and vulnerabilities that we will be going on one by one. Okay, so first we have the malware threats. When we talk about malware, we're referring to malicious software, okay, specifically designed to damage, disrupt, or gain unauthorized access to computer systems. Now, these threats come in different forms, okay, each with its own behavior and purpose as well. First, we have the virus, okay, or the viruses, okay. Viruses attach themselves to files and only spread when those infected files are executed by the user. Okay, they are often they often require human action. Okay, to be activated. Okay, then you have worms. Okay, unlike viruses, worms don't need any user interaction. They are more so-called self-replicating and can spread across networks on their own, okay, which makes them particularly dangerous. Okay. Then you have your Trojans. These Trojans, on the other hand, disguise themselves as legitimate software. Okay. Uh, you might think you're installing a useful program, but in reality, it's performing a harmful actions in the background. So you have the next, you have ransomware. Okay, ransomware are or is another okay is another major threat wherein it encrypts the files and demands payment. Okay, often in cryptocurrency okay or another form which is untraceable. Okay, this is this ransom is for you to gain or to restore your access okay, within your files or credentials. This has or ransomware has caused massive financial losses to organizations worldwide. You have your spyware. This secretly monitors user activities. Okay, it captures sensitive information like passwords or credit card details. And finally, you have your adware. While it may seem less severe, This displays an unwanted ads, okay, or advertisements, and uh, often tracks your behavior to target you with more ads. These are sometimes opening the door for more dangerous malware. Okay. Now, understanding these types of malware is essential because they will form the foundation of many cyber attacks today. So we have here virus. Okay. So virus are, or let's check the characteristics of a virus. A virus works by attaching itself to a file or program. These are almost like a parasite. Okay? It hides within something that looks normal, and once that file or program is executed, the virus becomes active. Now, one key thing to remember is that viruses typically require user action to spread. For example, if you unknowingly open an infected email attachment or run an infected application, you are essentially triggering the virus to do its work. And okay, and what can it do, or what can it do? Okay, it can do a lot. Okay, it can, or virus can corrupt, modify, or even delete important data on your system. In some cases, they might cause minor annoyances, but for others, or in others, they can lead to serious system failure or data loss. That's why educating users about the safe practices like avoiding suspicious attachment is just as important as having antivirus software. Now, what are the popular examples um, for a virus? You have your I Love You virus in 2000, the Melissa in 1999, and the Michelangelo in 1991. Here are some popular or recommended solutions. We use the antivirus software. We regularly or irregular software updates, okay, and avoid opening unknown files. Some known technology or tool that can help you with viruses will be a Windows Defender. Okay, that's the built-in antivirus for Windows. You have your Malwarebytes and the McAfee. Okay, and other antivirus softwares. Now let's check worms. Okay, worms, or unlike viruses, worms are self-replicating. This means that they can make copies of themselves and spread across networks automatically. Okay, there is no need for a host or a host file, no need for user action to activate. Now, this makes them particularly dangerous because they can spread very quickly, okay, infecting a large number of systems in a short period of time. One of their biggest impact is on performance. Worms can slow down networks and consume system resources, causing disruptions to business operations or even crashing entire systems. A famous example is the uh, 2003 SQL scammer, okay, um, which which spread so fast that it looked or that it took down parts of the internet within minutes. Okay, that's how destructive worms can be. Okay, now the popular or aside from SQL scam Slammer, sorry. We also have the Conficker and the Morris worm in 1988. Okay. Now, popular or recommended solutions, we enable our firewalls. Okay, we apply security patches. If there is an available update, we update our OS and network, okay, software or our network software regularly. Okay, we also use network intrusion detection systems. Next, Trojans. Trojans is a type of malware that pretends to be something useful or legitimate, like a free game, a software update, or even a security tool. Now, but in reality, this carries a malicious payload. Unlike your viruses or worms, Trojans don't self-replicate. Okay? Then Trojans do not self-replicate. They rely merely on tricking the user into installing or running them. Once active, they can do a lot of damage within your system. Okay? One of the most dangerous things a Trojan can do is to open a backdoor into your system. Okay? Uh, Wherein this will give a hacker or the hackers a remote access which can allow them to steal sensitive data, install more malware, or even take full control of the device. Now, this is why verifying the source of software and avoiding pirated programs is so important in cybersecurity. Okay, popular examples, you have your Zeus, the Emotet, and Back Orifice in 1998. Okay, how to avoid or how to or what are the recommended solutions? Okay, we avoid downloading from untrusted sources. We use the endpoint protection solutions and monitor network uh, traffic. Next, we have the ransomware. Ransomware are or okay, one of the most devastating types of malware today. This works by encrypting your files, okay, essentially locking you out of your own data. Now, or then the attacker will demand a ransom payment, usually in cryptocurrency, okay, to provide the decryption key. Now, how does it spread? Most commonly through phishing emails, okay, where users are tricked into clicking a malicious link or attachment, okay, or through exploit kits that can take advantage of unpatched, okay, vulnerabilities. Now, what makes ransomware particularly alarming? Okay, that is, it can target anyone. Okay, can target individuals, businesses, or critical infrastructure. From individual to large corporations and even critical infrastructure such as hospitals and government agencies. In 2017, a WannaCry attack, for example, affected hundreds of thousands of systems worldwide in just a matter of days. Now, this is why robust backup, okay, user awareness, and timely security updates or patches are vital defenses against ransomware. Now, aside from WannaCry, you have your Ryuk and the Lucky in 2016 as part or some example of popular ransomware. And we have the following recommended solutions. We create backup or we backup important data. We enable our ransomware protection and avoid clicking suspicious links. Next, spyware. spyware characteristics. Spyware is a type of malware that works quietly in the background. It secretly monitor user activity and collect personal data, okay, without any user's knowledge. Now, it can be particularly dangerous because it's designed to steal sensitive information. Some spyware includes keyloggers, which record everything you type, including passwords and credit card numbers. Others can track browser history, monitor emails, or even activate webcams to spy on users. Now, how does it get into the system or into your system? Often, it's bundled with free software, okay, that looks harmless or delivered through malicious ads, okay, which is a tactic known as malvertising. Okay, it's a term, okay, malvertising. Okay, because spyware operates silently, okay, users often don't realize they're infected or until significant damage has been done. Okay, making strong security software and cautious downloading habits is essential. Some example of uh, popular example for spyware, you have Pegasus, the Cool Web Search, and the FinFishers. Okay, what are the recommended solutions? We install or we use anti-spyware tools such as Spybot, Search and Destroy, and the Malware Bytes. Okay, be cautious of free software. Okay, avoid downloading from unverified sources. Okay, enable privacy controls. Use secure browsers and disable unnecessary tracking. Okay, especially for your phones. Now, adware characteristics. What are the characteristics of an adware? Adware is a software, okay? It's or that primarily focuses on displaying unwanted ads and pop-ups, or even redirecting users to potentially malicious websites. While some adware may seem more annoying than harmful, okay, it can still cause real problems. It often slows down system performance, okay, because it runs constantly in the background, and many types of adware also track your browsing habits, okay, which deliver targeted ads. This can raise serious privacy concerns. Also, adware commonly sneaks into systems when it's bundled with free applications, especially those downloaded from unverified sources. So while adware might not always destroy files like virus or lock data or lock data like your ransomware, okay, it can still compromise user experience, privacy, and even security. So some popular example, you have your Gator, the Fireball, and the Desk ad. So some recommended solutions, we use ad blockers, okay, uninstall suspicious programs and scan for malware. So let's proceed to another threat, which is the social engineering. Okay. Um, Unlike malware, which attacks systems and software, social engineering targets people. It targets us. Okay. It manipulates human psychology. Okay. By tricking individuals. Okay. By tricking us into giving away confidential information or granting access which, okay, they normally wouldn't. Okay. Now, one common form of phishing is, or one form of social engineering is phishing. Okay, where attackers use deceptive emails or fake websites. Okay, this is to trick users into revealing sensitive information like username, passwords, or credit card numbers. Then we have a more focused version of phishing. We have your spear phishing. Instead of casting a wide net, attackers will carefully research their target, like specific employee or organization, and craft a highly convincing message to deceive. Okay. Then we have pretexting, where an attacker can create a fabricated scenario to gain the trust of someone, or to gain someone's trust and obtain information. Now, for example, pretending to be from the IT department, asking for your login credentials. Okay. Then you have baiting. Okay. It takes a different approach. It involves offering something enticing like free music downloads or a USB drive left in a public place. Okay. It only to infect the victim system with malware when they uh, take the bait. Okay. Then lastly, tailgating. Tailgating is a physical security threat. It's when an attacker gains access to restricted area by following someone who is authorized, like sleeping in behind an employee entering a secure office. Okay. Now, social engineering is powerful because this plays on human behavior. It reminds us that cybersecurity is not just about technology, it's also about awareness and being vigilant. So, phishing, let's go deeper on the different engineering threats. Okay. First, we have phishing. Phishing is one of the most common social engineering attacks, okay, that we are currently facing today, okay, or as of today. Okay, this involves deceptive emails, messages, or websites that would impersonate legitimate organizations like banks, government agencies, or even your own company. Now, the goal is to, or so simple, this is to trick users into revealing sensitive data such as the login credentials, credit card details, or other personal information. Now, how do attackers make this work? They often use psychological triggers such as uh, creating a sense of urgency, wherein, for example, you will receive a message, your account will be locked, right? So there's an urgency. There is also a sense of fear. For example, suspicious activity detected, okay? Or even reward, sense of reward, okay? Such as a message of you've won a prize, okay? These tactics pressure victims into acting quickly without thinking critically. Again, what are these psychological triggers? Okay, that will or like sense of urgency, sense of fear, or even the sense of reward. Now, phishing is a reminder that we must always double check messages and verify sources before clicking links or sharing information. Here are some popular examples of phishing. Okay. And the popular or recommended solutions is for us to enable MFA or the multi-factor authentication. We use the email filtering solutions and employee awareness training. Now, spear phishing. While regular phishing casts a wide net, okay, spear phishing is highly targeted. It focuses on specific individuals or organizations, making it far from or far more convincing and dangerous. Okay? Now, attackers often gather personal details such as job title, the names of your colleagues, or recent projects that you're working on to at least make their message look like authentic. Now, these attacks usually come in the form of personal emails, direct messages, or even social media interactions. Okay, because of this or because they appear so credible, even tech-savvy individuals can be a victim. Now, spear phishing is a favorable technique for launching target attacks like business, okay, business email compromise or data breaches. Okay, then here are some popular examples of spear phishing. Okay, then some popular or recommended solutions. So, pretexting. Pretexting is a social engineering tactic where attackers create a fake scenario or pretext, okay, to manipulate someone into giving away information. Uh, they often impersonate a trusted entity like an IT support, okay, your technician, a bank representative, or even a coworker. The attacker builds a sense of legitimacy through this fabricated story, okay, which makes the victim feel more comfortable sharing the sensitive details. Next, the information gained through pretexting can be used for identity theft, okay, financial fraud, or to gain unauthorized access to systems or facilities. Now, what makes pretexting especially dangerous, okay, is that it relies more on trust and confidence, which can be harder to defend against technical attacks. Okay, this is why verifying identities, especially when someone requests sensitive data, is really critical. Uh, We have here some popular examples, the tech support scams, the HR scam emails, wherein attackers pose as HR asking employees to confirm personal details, the fake law enforcement, wherein scammers could impersonate police officers demanding sensitive information. Some popular recommended solutions is strict verification procedures, which possibly require employees to confirm requests via official channels. You have the caller ID and email authentication, and security awareness training. Okay, so that ends the part one of our presentation. We'll continue with the baiting characteristics for the next part of this video. Thank you.